Greetings, fellow humans. Welcome to another episode of Geek Portal on CIB24.com. I'm your host, Paul Cusolo. On this episode, I explain what the cloud is, the future of gaming consoles, and why EB Games pushes my bile to the tip of my tongue. What is the cloud? I hear that question a lot. Is it a fluffy white blob in the sky where all of your kitten photos, Black Eyed Peas tracks, and videos of your drunken friends are stored? Sadly, that would be much cooler than the actual truth. In reality, the cloud is just another name for the internet. Now, the cloud actually stands for the term cloud computing. Now, cloud computing refers to a model of network computing where a program or an application runs on a connected server or servers rather than a local computing device such as a PC, tablet, or smartphone. Now, all my parents just heard was blah blah computing blah blah. Basically, all of your info is stored somewhere else. Now, this is known as virtualization, creating a virtual rather than an actual version of something. Now, the best example is apps, like a calculator or a compass app, instead of having the real thing. Now, originally it began as just programs to be virtualized. Now we can create virtual supercomputers, or clouds, taking the functionality of an actual computer but having it exist in the virtual universe. Now, explaining the cloud was my stepping stone into where the future of gaming is headed in this tidbit of tech. In the latest of mind-blowing work from Square Enix, the creators of the legendary Final Fantasy series, the company has unveiled their cloud tech that will change the future of gaming. It's pretty insane. Now, currently, when we play a video game online, we have a console or PC source that's running the game. Then that game room is duplicated for every person playing the game, so that in a 16-player match, there are 16 copies of that exact match all running at the same time. Now, what Square Enix's Project Flair, as it's called, does instead is it creates a giant virtual console in the cloud that we will all access. Square Enix intends to use supercomputers to deliver gaming experiences that wouldn't be possible on home systems. Now, Square's demo at this year's E3 Electronics Conference shows off a giant, beautiful world. The geographical scale and its world map were 32 kilometers by 32 kilometers. That's 17 times the size of Skyrim's map, which is a very big game, very big game. Now, what is most impressive here is not just the size, but none of the world was being loaded up or streamed in by a computer. It was all fully rendered in full detail across the entirety of this giant world. Now, this includes over 600,000 trees, hundreds of packs of creatures, hills, mountains, and more. Now, this will eliminate things like load up when you open up a huge game like Skyrim or Fallout or Grand Theft Auto, Assassin's Creed, Borderlands, etc. Now, despite the simplicity of the demo shown at E3, it was also created from scratch in a mere 6 months with only 2 programmers and 1 artist. Now, the goal for all this is the new possibilities for massive multiplayer games. Now, they claim that Project Flair will allow for every player to be in a single server rather than split into shards like current MMOs. It also allows for a fully rendered, dynamic, deformable, and modifiable world without the need for patches or updates. Now, they also claim that hacking and cheating would no longer be possible. Yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed about that last one. Hopefully, this will come to pass as I have reached my limit with local gaming stores and don't want to buy any more systems. The only gaming store, really. We explore the great mystery of why does EB Games suck so much in this Ever since EB Games and GameStop have joined forces, they have merged into one big steaming pile of poo. Pre-order anything and they change the launch dates. Getting crappy value for expensive games sound familiar? Well, where else are we supposed to go? Blockbuster and other movie stores are gone. Best Buy and Future Shop are for lost parents and lemmings looking for mainstream. Zellers, Target, and Wally World get a few hots, but mostly what's not and what's left over. Our only real gaming store out there is EB and GameStop, and they suck. First off, the customer service blows. Most, if not all, the employees know jack about video games. Hire more employees. You have a monopoly on the entire gaming store market. The stupid scam of $3 guarantees for disc insurance? This is a ripoff. All pre-owned games and new games are allowed to be returned within a 12-month period if they are defective and do not work. But the staff members are not, under any circumstances, allowed to tell you this. To sell more game guarantees, obviously, the employees are given a 10% bonus of the warranty on their paycheck for every guarantee they sell. Games are constantly mislabeled or misplaced. Take an extra quick look next time you pick up a used game off the shelf. I found the same games in the bargain bin for $10 when that exact same game lay on the shelf for $28. Make sense? Of course not. The company also changed its policies on extended warranties, which they lost so much money on defective Xbox and Xbox 360 consoles. This shouldn't shock anyone. They asked stores to stop giving new hardware to people that came in with extended warranties and gave them refurbished consoles instead, which, by the way, are not even properly repaired by trained professionals and yet are sent back to the store despite their questioned functionality. They also doubled the prices on warranties for every console. What finally set me off after years of incompetence and mismanagement, I tried to buy Blur for PS3 after a refreshing old-school session with my bros. I went to several EBs in my area, and at the third one I realized I should just ask them to check their surrounding store's inventory files and save myself driving around or calling. Easier said than done. As I entered EB, I was not surprised to see at least 20 people in this tiny store and only 3 employees, for which one disappeared into the back room never to be seen again. For a business that involves no more than scanning a barcode and accepting monetary funds for said merchandise, they really need to get their stuff together. There, at both of the 2 registers, were kids returning a mountain of video games for trade-in. Both registers clogged while employees casually searched for the price list for each and every game being traded in. After a 25-minute wait to simply ask if they had Blur in stock, which they did not, I asked if they could check the surrounding store's inventory files to save me from driving and calling around, to which they replied, no. No. Why? Well, because we don't have internet here. You don't have internet? You're EB Games and you don't have internet. Even my barber has Wi-Fi. After the quizzical look on my face had faded, she said, they don't want us checking our email or Facebook while we're at work. For a gaming store, it should all be about customer service. Otherwise, any hole can have the latest or newest games for sale, or just buy them online. We go to these stores for the customer service, or lack of one. I miss microplay. Keep at least one employee on the floor helping other people so they can have an informed decision and get the hell out of your store faster. We demand a new video gaming store. Anybody out there with enough startup capital? Well, here is a big vacuum in the market. That's it for this episode of Geek Portal. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube and Daily Motion channels. Thanks a lot for enduring, and I'll see you next time.